Greetings. Today we're walking through the DSPM add-on DDR, Data Detection and Response. Now, what is DDR? DDR is an add-on to DSPM, which enables organizations the ability to continuously monitor their data sources. By doing that, we open a lot of different use cases. As you know, DSPM scans data repositories from time to time, schedule scans every week, for instance. Using DDR detects files changing via continuous monitoring of those data repositories. Coupled with data controls, alerts, analytics, and remediation, DDR can enable organizations to identify and stop data exposure and thus avoid data breaches. Now, once DDR has been enabled for the DSPM instance, data streaming can be enabled for this specific configuration. DDR does not support all data sources yet, so check the streaming availability with the PMs. Turning on the data source, simply checking the data streaming. Additionally, there are permissions that should be turned on for that data source, such as moving files, revoking permissions, scanning, and then cloud and persistent tagging. So we've turned on Google Drive as a data source. Let's take a look at the files. Within Google Drive, we've got public folder, which is sharing access to anyone that has the link. And specifically, we're going to look at copy of 5 records, anyone who has the link. And we can also give people outside of the organization access. And we do this as well as adding data. So currently, this would only be considered PII data. We can paste data into here. That would be considered PHI or PCI data. Save to drive. And then what we'll see in the streaming is the streaming as continuous monitoring of that file change. After modifying a file within Google Drive, adding users and permissions, pasting data within the file, admins can view the affected file within the continuous monitoring feed or streaming on the Live Events tab. Basic streaming shows the affected files where admins can leverage relevant data such as the username, the type of file or the action type, and the event type that triggered the update. Additional file details are available within the expansion of that file event or the update event. Extended streaming offers data details such as scan ID and scan configuration ID and file ID, and may also require additional permissions for some data sources. Leveraging continuous scanning of DDR versus the periodic scanning of DSPM will enable organizations to dynamically discover accidental data exposure and stop breaches in a timely manner. Additionally, Forcepoint DDR add-on allows for or provides predefined data controls that can easily be imported into the DSPM controls orchestration to help admins identify data breaches. Specific types of data control can include public exposure of PII or PHI data, external sharing of sensitive data, and internal oversharing of sensitive data. Once imported into controls and orchestration, it is possible to tailor all of the data controls to the customer needs and even create new ones. Specific data sets can be selected to apply the conditions. Specific conditions can be edited and tailored, as well as specific actions. For example, exposed PII data can be damaging for any organization. It can cause a breach for any organization. This is why creating controls around exposed PII to notify admins and incident response teams is critical to the organization. So controls can be edited and notifications can be added, such as email or even webhooks that can go to an IRM or an incident response team directly. This enables organizations to identify possible data breaches quickly and remediate them with the IR team or notifications. This also creates incidents in which directly from the UI, administrators can identify specific types of data controls and identify the data itself, and directly from the UI, engage in remediation. With DDR data controls displaying the exposed PII data, admins have the ability to remediate directly from the UI. DDR remediation comes in the form of revoking permissions or moving the selected files. When revoking the permissions, or permissions such as edit or write permissions can be revoked from the file, or in this case, anyone with the link would be the ideal trustee to revoke from the file or remove from the file as far as accessing a high risk or PII classified file. Admins also have the ability to move files from an exposed location to a safer location, which also may be across platforms. For instance, assuming that the administrator has the correct rights, administrators can move files from SharePoint or OneDrive to a secure quarantine location within Google Drive. Additionally, opening up file details can expose file lineage. File lineage can help assess the risk exposure from identification to the remediation and checking the download counter as well as the unique downloads, number of movements, and download events, in addition to share events and copy events. Additional file details can help you assess the amount and type of data that's exposed, had permissions, other data assets, as well as any duplicate data on any of the scanned data sources. Within analytics, Forcepoint DDR offers additional data sets specific to DDR data or continuous data streaming. Admins can add specific widgets for datasets outside of the DSPM datasets, including streaming, file audit log, and extended streaming, which are specific to the continuous monitoring of DDR. As a result, admins can create widgets and dashboards that can give them up to the minute information on the continuous monitoring of their data sources. And finally, we come to the DDR overview or dashboard page. This dashboard page shows continuous monitoring and statistics such as by data source, how many statistics or event changes per hour, as well as the change events that were triggered. You can drill down into any one of these sources, any one of the widgets, in addition to recently scanned files, viewing it inside the enterprise search, and the open risks that are current based on the data controls that we have in place, such as external sharing of PII, which we walk through, and public exposure of PII or PCI. This page is fairly static, but will receive updates with future releases. Thank you for attending this DDR overview and discussion of how DDR can help organizations avoid data breaches.